Hey, what's going on, guys? Fantasia here, and in this video, I want to just follow up with the cool little extras that you can do with your laser projectiles or whatever projectiles you might happen to have, bullets, I don't know, energy beams, particles, whatever. So this is a really neat effect that you can do, and basically, it's a way to have your projectiles speed up or slow down while they are in motion. And so let's get right into that. One of the first things you might notice, however, is that my motion, the smoothness of the video has increased. It's a bit smoother now. That's because I've got a new screen capture package called XSplit. Before I was using Cam Studio, and I can get really smooth frame rates now. So hopefully you can see what's going on. In fact, I can show you. Just bring our window up here and just show you how smooth that you can actually see what's going on now. The laser's kind of moved freely and smooth. So with that out of the way, anyway, let's get on to the most important stuff, which is showing you how to get this the acceleration going. So the way you get your lasers to change speed while they are actually in motion is to add what we have to do is add an acceleration member to our object class. And basically this class that I made a long time ago, it was in the Allegro tutorial series where we talked about how to use objects to object-oriented programming to represent classes, and use those classes to represent objects, like game objects in your game. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that file, and this is object.h. So this is the header file to that object class declaration, and we're going to add two variables of a float type, two members to the class called accelx and accelY. And what this is an acceleration value that is going to allow the speed to change of the object, and is going to allow that in real time. So go ahead and add accelx and accelY to your object class, and then in your constructor set it to actually I haven't done that here. You don't have to set it to 0, but you can if you want, just to make sure that that they are set to 0. Now what we have to do is we have to, when we go here to create our laser, when we press Z, it's going to push another laser, or it's going to activate another laser in our array. But what we want to do is we want to initialize all of the values before we do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the speed to 0, set the speed in the X direction to 0, set the speed in the Y direction to 0, and then we're also going to set the acceleration in the Y to 0 and the X acceleration to 0.25. And what this is going to do is it's going to increase our speed at a rate of 0.25 pixels per second. Of course, the units are not per second, it would just be per tick. So every time our game loop runs, it's going to increase the speed by this rate, and then the speed is going to update the position. And so here's this bit of code. We have to change the logic a little bit. Instead of calling instead of calling the update function, what we're going to do is we're going to manually go ahead and alter our speed and position variables. So the X is going to be affected by our acceleration in the X direction. So every frame, if the laser is active, the speed is going to be added to or subtracted from, the acceleration is going to be added to or subtracted from the speed that it already is, and the same thing in the Y direction. After we do that, then we're going to add or subtract the speed from the position. Okay, so what we've done is we've added some acceleration to our objects here so that they're going to speed up and slow down real time. So as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and run this. And this is a great time to get a new screen recording package because we can actually see the acceleration effects. Now if you watch, you see the laser starts out being 0 and then it speeds up as it goes on. See? That's really neat. So you might want to do that. Let's say, I don't know, let's say you had a spaceship that has a special type of gun that just like sits there and then speeds up really quick. That's a neat little effect. We can also do the opposite by setting the acceleration negative. Let's see here. So what that's going to do is it's going to retard the motion of the laser. So we can set it the x speed to an initial velocity, let's say 10, and then it's going to slow it down until not until it reaches 0. So it actually might turn the other direction in this case, because if the acceleration subtracts away from a 0 speed in the x direction, then it's going to turn around. So let's see that. Let's see. Yeah, see that? That's really cool. So let's say maybe we don't want it to turn around. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to add some speed so that the acceleration can't push it all the way to the back like that. So let's make it twice as fast and see what we get. Let's see. Okay, you can't really see it because the acceleration is not high enough, but it's slowing down. So that's just in the x direction. So what about the y? This is where things get really, really crazy. Now watch this. If I set the y acceleration to, let's say, let's set it to like 0.5 or something like that, and then set the y speed initially to be something like, let's have it pointing upwards. Let's have it going upwards. So it's going to be negative, I don't know, maybe -5. Let's just play around with some of these and see what we get. See, that's really crazy. So you can see it actually curves upwards because the y is curving. The y acceleration is subtracting away from the y speed. Let's see. Positive. Maybe that's what I want. I want it to be a little curved up and down, so like a parabola kind of shape. There we go. So now it curves in. We can even have it go faster. Let's make it go faster. Faster downward. So let's say give it a speed of now I'll tell you what, let's alter the lifespan so that it goes farther than 400 pixels, and let's just kind of see it go, just playing around with this stuff. Okay, now let's loosen up on the acceleration because it's too high. Acceleration downwards, and then let's make it be a little curved up and down. There we go. So now you can see it goes up and down. It's too fast in the x direction. Let's cut it down a little bit. Make it whoa, that's really crazy. Wow, that's so cool. So yeah, you can have fun just playing around with these values. See what kind of patterns you can get. It's just awesome. Another thing that I was playing around with was not having the lasers disappear when they die, and that is like really cool because if the laser gets to the end of its lifespan and it doesn't disappear, it'll just sit there. And so what you would do is you would get rid of that invisible flag equals 1 so that it doesn't set the lasers to be invisible when they die. So then they do that. That is really crazy. I like that. It just kind of sits there. And if you go up and down like that, they kind of form this nice line. That's really crazy there. I like it. So you could have like an enemy, like your boss, come up and like spray some lasers like that, and then they'll all like shoot out maybe, and they'll all like instantly go out in the other direction. So just let your imagination run wild there. It can be anything you want it to be, really. Just, it's your game. It's an art. Set this to 0.5. So yeah, I'm just playing around with these. But you can do all kinds of crazy stuff just by setting the acceleration. So look at that. It's just shooting behind. You got all kinds of wacky, crazy stuff. So yeah, that's just some of the cool things you can do with acceleration. Now, I took the update lines of code out of the update function, but you can put it back in just to maintain object-oriented design. But let's say maybe your application doesn't want to just call the update function. Let's say it just wants to do something else special. So you would just leave it. You would just leave it outside of the loop. But yeah, that's essentially it. Just some crazy stuff that you can do with the accelerations, and then add some effects to your lasers. So yeah, I just thought that would be neat to share. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.